I had never heard of the Great Replacement Theory until USA Today wrote a story on it. And it's amazing that a congresswoman can impugn somebody's character without even allowing them to answer.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I am an American, and I'm also a proud daughter of a woman who crossed the Southwest border 40 years ago. And I have to tell you that I've been sitting here with a little scorecard of the number of things that I've heard that almost directly say that my mother and asylum seekers are less than human. I've heard a Republican member, talk about immigrants as an infestation, and another one call it an invasion. Mr. Arthur, you and your organization have frequently proposed and defended extreme anti-immigrant policies, such as the Trump administration's so-called zero-tolerance policy, which resulted in thousands of children being taken from their parents at the border, hundreds of whom still have not been reunited. In fact, you called this cruel and inhumane policy, and I quote, absolutely crucial. You also referred to provisions in law meant to protect migrant children as, and I quote, loopholes and quote, flaws, and argued for their elimination. Maybe this kind of awful rhetoric is to be expected from a witness representing an organization founded by an anti-immigrant, racist, white nationalist like John Tanton, but it should have no place before this committee. And then we have Mr. Judd, who has used media appearances to repeat the Great Replacement Theory, tropes regularly pushed by hate groups. This kind of dangerous rhetoric has inspired a rising number of domestic terror incidents across the country in recent years. And all of this for a hearing about a non-existent crisis along a shared border with our friend, our ally, and partner, Canada.
I'd like to yield 1 minute to Mr. Arthur to respond to some of the attacks that were directed his way, if that'd be appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Strong, and I do appreciate that. One, I disagree with almost everything that the honorable woman said. The Center for Immigration Studies was founded by Otis Graham, who was a professor at the University of California, San Diego. On our board of directors, we have the first Hispanic U.S. attorney from San Diego. We have the former executive director for the Congressional Black Caucus, who was also the former graduate dean at Morgan State University in the home state of Mr. Ivey and I. And we also have the president of the Urban League of Miami. With respect to families and family units and the separation policy, it was poorly handled. But in an April 2019 report, a bipartisan panel of the Homeland Security Advisory Committee found that those children are being used as pawns and that they're all traumatized on their trip to the United States. With respect to unaccompanied alien children, I believe the Washington Post editorial board may have used the word loophole to refer to the TVPRA as well. I can't remember if they did, but they certainly alluded to it. But in June of 2014 in Guatemala, President Biden talked about how those kids are being placed in the hands of criminals to be smuggled to the United States who physically and sexually assault them. If you took all of the children who have been released into the United States under the Biden administration, put them all in one school district, it would be the 6th largest in the United States. If you had a school district in which there were a significant number of physical and sexual assaults going on every day, that would be the only thing, God, I pray, that this committee and every committee on Capitol Hill would be looking at every day.
Mr. Judd, how many years have you been an agent?
25, but I'd first like to start. I'm amazed that a member of Congress can actually impugn somebody's character without letting that individual answer the question. She said that I repeated white nationalist tropes, when in reality, all I did was repeated what John D. Podesta said. John D. Podesta's think tank said, demographics, I believe that this is a direct quote, demographics is destiny. I had never heard of the Great Replacement Theory until USA Today wrote a story on it. And it's amazing that a congresswoman can impugn somebody's character without even allowing them to answer. I've been a Border Patrol agent for 25 years.
Well, I'm glad you got to address that. And if you'd like to say anything else on my time, go for it. What else you got?
Sorry about that.
Now, how long have you been representing Border Patrol agents in the National Border Patrol Council?
I've been in a position, one or the other, for about 15 years, approximately.
Thank you, sir. Would you say you're proud of your job? And if so, why?
Very, very proud of my job. I think that it's very important for the safety and security of the American people.
I think you told me a couple years ago, sir, the first time I ever met you, that your organization has endorsed candidates from both parties. Is that correct?
We have.
So would you say that your organization is bipartisan?
It absolutely is.
That's weird because that doesn't happen a lot up in this town. Can you elaborate on why your organization's is bipartisan?
We'll work with anybody that wants to secure the border. That's what we want. We work for the safety and security of the American people. Any law enforcement, when they put on a uniform, what they want to do is they want to protect citizens, and that's what we want to do, and we'll work with anybody that will work with us.
Thank you, sir. Would you agree with Secretary Mayorkas' assessment that we have operational control at the southern border?
Absolutely not.
Can you briefly describe some of the most detrimental policy changes that current administration has put into place?
When you look at the main magnet that draws people to cross our borders illegally is whether or not they're going to be released into the United States. Right now, nearly everybody that crosses the border illegally, if they're not expelled under Title 42, which is only about 30% right now, then they're released into the United States. That's the main magnet that drives people, and he has put that, if you will, he's put that on steroids.
Yeah. Does it bother you on a personal level to see these changes made?
It does, because I know that we can't properly protect the American people with these policies.
Yeah, one of the things that was covered earlier, sir, was the attrition rate in the Border Patrol. In your professional and long-standing position in the Border Patrol, do you think that has anything to do with Border Patrol agents feeling like it doesn't even matter what they do?
It does. I speak with agents on a regular basis that are leaving the agency because they know that they can't do the job that they wanted to do.
That's got to be kind of heartbreaking to somebody who's devoted so much of your time and life, sacrificed time away from your family to protecting American citizens.
It is.
Yeah. Sir, do you know when President Biden's first visit to the border was? Was it January 23rd?
It was, yes.
Yep. So how many years into his presidency was that, sir?
Just over 2 years.
Do you know how many trips President Trump made to the border, Mr. Judd?
I don't know exactly, but I know that he made multiple trips.
Yeah, we were looking it up this morning. I think it was about 5. Yeah. Do you think it has, as a leader yourself, do you think it has anything to do with leadership if you actually show up to the places that you represent and the people that follow you see you show up?
Yeah, any time that you know that somebody supports what you're doing, what your mission is, you're going to be a lot more energized to do the job.
Awesome.